Hi, I'm David,
And I'm Aaron.
and you're listening to The Travel Bros. So today is Sunday, August 20th, and my school just started. Summer's over. Aaron, you're about to start school this week, right?
That's true. Yeah, we're about to start school, so unfortunately it's going to be a little bit more difficult to post, but we're glad we're doing this right before the year starts.
So today we're going to be talking about something really cool, which is actually the Brightline train in Florida. So something I think that's cool about the Brightline train is that it's a train, so it's obviously like public transportation, but it's not well heard of like Amtrak. And that's partially because it's newer and partially because it actually is just in Florida. So they just completed a massive expansion. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the Brightline train opened up in Florida from 2018. That's when it opened, and it went from Miami to West Palm Beach. So it went a pretty good distance, but not too much. And it was the first privately funded passenger rail built in the U.S. in over 100 years. So
Really?
stuff like stuff like Amtrak and stuff like that wasn't publicly, or rather privately funded. That was publicly funded.
Right, that's really cool. So do you know who's like the CEO of it or who the founder was of Brightline?
No, I don't, but I just find it interesting that this was like, I don't know, I think it's cool that this was privately funded and it's not something that people know about.
It's really cool because normally the privately funded ones are a lot nicer than the Amtraks. Like, I've been on one, or we were going to go on one in Colorado a few years ago. It ended up getting canceled, but it was supposed to be,
Really?
like the really scenic ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going to do that.
Yeah, and they're apparently a lot nicer than the public ones just because they have like nicer seats or better views and stuff like that and just like better service.
And I wonder, when we talked a few weeks ago or months ago about the nice one, the really nice trains that they offer in the US for trips, like the scenic ones, I wonder if that counts as a passenger rail. I'm assuming it is, and if so,
Oh, yeah.
Then that means that even that wasn't privately funded, which I think was very interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So in June of this year, Brightline finished a $6 billion expansion. That is just insane. And now the train connects West Palm Beach as well to Orlando. So the whole train now goes all the way south to Miami and all the way to Orlando. So it goes from South Florida to Central Florida. Now, according to economic studies obtained by Brightline, the construction generated more than 10,000 jobs and more than $6.4 billion in economic impact to the state of Florida. So that not only is great for the people of Florida, but it's great for the state as well. They get a lot of money, tax revenue. They get a lot of financial benefits with this train that they didn't have before.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. I mean, if I was living in Florida, I'd probably use it all the time. For vacation and stuff like that. I mean, it connects the entire state, which is pretty cool.
And we don't have anything like that good in Texas. I mean, we do have an Amtrak, but it's not great.
No, it's really bad. I mean, they run once a day to New Orleans and San Antonio in those directions, so not great.
Not at all. But with this, it's fast, which I know you're going to talk about, and it's just really easy to get on, nice on the inside, so only positives. Now, the thing about this, Aaron, is the expansion was over 170 miles, so that's just a lot. That's really crazy, that amount that they expanded it. And the tickets for the expansion went on sale in May of earlier this year. Now, you can buy tickets on the app more conveniently. You could also buy it online, but the app is easy because that way you just show them your ticket, and it's just the fastest and easiest way to do it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I'm going to be talking about a little bit more about the train itself instead of just the company as a whole and the expansion. So the speeds on this train go up to 120 miles an hour.
So that's really fast.
Yeah, it's really fast. Not quite as fast as the Acela Express in the Northeast that connects, all the northeastern cities like New York, Baltimore, D.C., stuff like that.
Which that's the fastest. The Acela Express by Amtrak is the fastest train in the U.S. It goes 160 or so?
Yeah, 160 top.
But this is still,
this is still
very fast.
It's comparable in a lot of parts. So the Miami to West Palm Beach, the speeds go up to 79 miles per hour.
And that's the part that was over.
Right. And then the West Palm Beach to Cocoa, they go 110. Yeah, 110 miles an hour. And then Cocoa to Orlando goes 125 miles an hour top. So those stretches have different speeds. But I think the pattern that I'm recognizing here is like the newer the track is or the newer the expansion, the faster it goes.
Yeah.
And then there are two types of fares that you can get. There's a smart fare, which is basically the comfortable business class option, with like an array of food, beverages, and stuff like that available for purchase. And then it includes like a complimentary onboard like Wi-Fi, and hand-stitched leather seats with like multiple USB Type A or USB Type C outlets at each seat.
So I know you only talked about smart fare right now, but what, like, before you talk about, like the nicer one, would you pay more for like first class or like for nicer seat, like on something like a train, if it would be a few hours? Like, I'm just curious, would you spend your money like that? Like, it depends for me how much more expensive, how long the train is, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it really depends, like, what you're traveling for. If it was just for business, probably not, because you probably want to save as much money as you can. But I mean, if you were on vacation and you were willing to spend the money, I think the difference is like $40 or something like that between the smart fare and then the nicer one. But I'm not sure exactly what the difference is. And plus, I mean, the price depends on which stop you're starting at,
of course,
and which one you're ending at.
So like
too.
the very cheapest is the $10 for the smart fare, and premium tickets $27.
Right.
Again, that's like the cheapest.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe if you're going from Miami to Orlando and it's a 2-hour train, I don't know, maybe that's $100 or so.
Right.
I actually don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends on the price and stuff like that about where you're going. But yeah, I think it could be worth it if you were just doing it for fun and you just wanted to have the full experience. And then the nicer fare is called the premium fare.
So what does that include? Like, is the premium fare a lot nicer, or does it just have like a few things that the other one doesn't?
Well, yeah, it's considered like the first class on this train. And it includes like complimentary snacks, like free beverages, and then like they have a free like premium lounge that you can relax at and stuff, which is something that the smart fare doesn't offer. So it just includes stuff like that. And I don't know exactly what's inside of the premium lounge. I'm assuming just a place to sit with probably some drinks, snacks, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the views are supposed to be great on this train. And then it's really cool that it's pet friendly as well. So you could take your dog or your cat with you if you were traveling to visit family in a different Florida city, or you were just going on vacation with a pet. So yeah, it's pet friendly. And then the best thing that, in my opinion, that's really cool is they have like really modern, state-of-the-art, spacious bathrooms, which is normally not a great thing, or like not a like thing that you see on most public trains. I've been on probably like 15 Amtraks in my life in the Northeast, and I can tell you that the bathrooms aren't so great. I mean, they're pretty spacious, but these ones appear to be a lot nicer. And I mean, I think it's a really big deal to have, a clean way to use the bathroom when you're taking hours to go from one city to another. What do you think?
I agree. I just think it's really cool how, because they go so fast and it's, a new expansion and all this stuff, it'll actually like beat the traffic. So like in Houston, we don't have that. Like we can't, even though we do have a light rail, we can't just say like, hey, let's go on the train to Austin and it's going to be faster than driving. But
Right.
in Florida, now you can go in Miami and say, hey, I want to be in Orlando in, I don't know, an hour. I don't know how long it takes. And it's going to be faster than driving. And it's cheap. So it's like
Right.
win. It's cheap. It's really easy and convenient. It's fast. And it's clean. And, it's faster than the cars. So I just feel like everything about the Brightline train is just amazing.
Yeah, and I normally don't like talking badly about the state we live in, but the only disadvantage about like Houston and that whole area, like all these big cities, is that they're not connected by like really any public transportation. We have Amtraks that can take you from Houston to San Antonio, and then you have to transfer from San Antonio if you want to get to Austin or Dallas, stuff like that. But the reality is it takes twice as long, if not longer, to get to Austin than it would be, like on a train, than it would be to drive.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it. And the price, too, is like, I think it's a pretty reasonable price. Honestly, it's probably like $40 to Austin. But like, it's just still not worth it. Like, people would rather drive because we're living in a state that's just built for cars.
Well, it's not only that. It's just like, as you said, it's that the train, like, it's one thing if it's faster, but it's not. It's actually slower, and it's not that. I mean, it's relatively cheap, but mostly there's no reason to get on the train because it's slower. If it was faster, that's another thing.
Right.
But with the Brightline, it's really cheap, and it's actually faster than the cars, so it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and they have this they have that project that they've been talking about for years about how they want to connect Houston to Dallas.
Well, it's actually back on.
It's fast train. And yeah, I was talking to somebody a few months ago, that works in the city of Houston in like the public transportation department. and I was asking them like how much they know about it and stuff. And at the time, the plan was basically like it was at a dead end. They thought it was completely off. And yeah, I saw like an article recently that shows like indications that it's probably going to continue now, or the process is like going to keep moving forward. It's going to be, I mean, for sure, like many more years before it's completed, if it does get completed, like if they can get the funding. But, I hope it works because 45 minutes is way faster than like 6 hours, 5 hours, depending on traffic to Dallas. I mean, it's really great. And, people work in Dallas and Houston and stuff like that. People who work there can be able to get to from one place to another, in less than an hour, which is pretty nice.
And it's very, very fast. It would be a bullet train, which is, I don't know if this would be the first one in the U.S., but probably it would be.
It would be the fastest train that exists right now in the United States. Like I think the company that's developing the train is actually like a Japanese company that develops trains in Japan.
So that would be really state of the art, especially even in the world, that would be one of the fastest trains.
Oh yeah, no, it would be tied for like the fastest train, like the fastest passenger train right now. Which is pretty cool. And then, I don't know anything about like that Hyperloop that Tesla's doing. I haven't looked into that in years. But I think it's more for cars than it is for like public transportation and stuff like that they're doing in California. So that's a little different. But I think we see a lot of like movement in public transportation and trains and stuff in the United States right now.
Yeah, we're noticing this pattern, especially with new developments, just like Florida's new Brightline train.
Right.
And overall, I just think it's a great thing that Florida made. I mean, right? Like overall, just think about it. They're getting a lot of money for the state, faster than driving, cheap, more than 10,000 jobs. And just, I mean, think about it, $6.4 billion that they're going to get for the state. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's unbelievable. That's not even connecting most of the state. So if you think about if they were to keep expanding, think about how much better that could do for the economy.
Yeah, and Florida's like the third biggest state in the U.S. or something in terms of like GDP.
I don't know exactly, but
yeah,
just think about it.
It's definitely up there. I mean, New York, Texas, Florida, California.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys learned something today, and until next time, this was the Travel Bros.